Vandeham Sri Guru.
All right, everybody can hear me? Then I will proceed. Okay, I will proceed. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Gnanam Gina Shalakaya Chakshurjanmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Satpitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Garamam Dadati Swaparandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutabadagamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvitam Shavadutam Parjanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Shya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuve Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namaram Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Samiti Naminen Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharinen Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarinen Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, on the request we are reading Bhagavad-gītā 4:38. Nahe jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddha kalena atmani vindate. Na, nothing. Hey, certainly, jnanena with knowledge, sadrisham in comparison, pavitram, sanctified, iha in this world, vidyate, exists, that swayam himself, yoga in devotion, samsiddha, he who is mature, kalena in course of time, atmani in himself, vindati enjoys. Translation. In this world there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When we speak of transcendental knowledge, we do so in terms of spiritual understanding. As such, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Ignorance is the cause of bondage, and knowledge is the cause of liberation. This knowledge is the mature fruit of devotional service, and one is situated in transcendental knowledge, he need not search for peace elsewhere, for he enjoys peace within himself. In other words, this knowledge and peace culminate in Krishna consciousness. That is the last word in the Bhagavad-gītā. So, it's a very interesting point. This is all in correlation with the Bhagavad-gītā, where Krishna is asking us to go to a pure devotee and take shelter of him. Yeah, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So here Krishna is explaining transcendental knowledge as knowledge about himself. Anything knowledge about Krishna only, not about the demigod like Shiva or Brahma, that's not transcendental. Only knowledge about Krishna is considered as transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge in Sanskrit is called Paravidya. There's two words called Paravidya and Aparavidya. Paravidya means relating to Krishna. that is transcendental. And apara vidya means material knowledge, that is relating to eating, sleeping, mating, defending. This is called apara vidya. So the whole world is now engaging in apara vidya. Apara vidya means they are just interested in getting knowledge in some university or some schools so that they can earn a living. Understand? This is only for the purpose of eating, sleeping, mating, defending. This is called apara vidya. Apara vidya concludes in a lot of pain and in a lot of problems. Anyone who does not understand spiritual knowledge, material knowledge will only bring him a lot of anxiety and problems. You understand this point? Material knowledge cannot give you everlasting peace. Why? Because material knowledge deal only with senses. Hmm? Material knowledge deal in only sense gratification. You understand? Material knowledge is dealing in sense gratification. An intelligent person does not take part in the source of misery which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures of beginning and end, so the wise man does not delight in them. So in other words, material senses or material knowledge only results in sense gratification, which will then give a lot of misery. And that's the fact. We analyze the richest man in the world or the most intelligent man in the world, everybody is full of problems. You understand my point and all? So therefore, we have to be intelligent. Intelligent means coming to transcendental knowledge. You understand? Transcendental knowledge can be only obtained from the spiritual master. That's why Krishna is asking us to approach a guru, a bona fide guru, because from him we will get knowledge, transcendental knowledge about God, Krishna. You understand? You follow this point. We have to get transcendental knowledge about Krishna. This is the most confidential part of Vedic scriptures, or sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. One who understands this will become wise and will endeavor, and his endeavors will know perfection. And what is that? And that is explained in the previous verse. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the know of everything. He therefore engages in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. This is what the pure devotee will teach, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything is owned by him and everything belongs to him and he is inside of everything. And this is called Paravidya. So this is what the whole world is missing. And because they are missing this knowledge, so everyone is in a very disturbed position. Everyone is very disturbed because material knowledge is very confusing. Material knowledge creates a lot of doubts. Material knowledge is very speculative. So when you come to all this kind of understanding, you cannot get real knowledge. Real knowledge can be only obtained by Krishna, and that also if you surrender. You understand? That is when you practice only devotional service, you can get transcendental knowledge. If you don't practice devotional service, you cannot get transcendental knowledge. You understand my point or not? I'm going to show you one verse from here. Okay, here you can see this verse. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yogo Prayojita Janatu Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Jayadhaitukam. See this? This is Jnanam, knowledge. which is costless. So here, by rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge. Causal knowledge means transcendental knowledge and detachment from the world. So try to understand, until we go to Krishna, we cannot get this transcendental knowledge. Those who consider devotional service of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna to be something like material emotional affairs may argue that in the revealed scriptures, sacrifice, charity, austerity, knowledge, mystic power, and similar other processes of transcendental realization are recommended. According to them, bhakti or devotional service to the Lord is meant for those who cannot perform the high-grade activities. Generally, it is said that bhakti call is meant for the Sudras, Vaishyas, and less intelligent women class. But that is not the actual fact. The bhakti cult is the topmost of all transcendental activities, and therefore it is simultaneously sublime and easy. It is sublime for the pure devotees who are serious about getting in contact with the Supreme Lord, and is easy for the neophyte who are just on the threshold of the house of bhakti. To achieve the contact of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is a great science, and is open to all living beings, including the Sudras, Vaishyas, women, even those lower than the low-born Sudras. So what to speak of the high-class men like the qualified Brahmanas and the great self-right kings? The other high-grade activities designated as sacrifice, charity, austerity, etc., all corollary factors following the pure and scientific bhakti cult. The principle of knowledge and detachment are two important factors on the path of transcendental realization. The whole spiritual process leads to perfect knowledge. So the whole spiritual process leads to perfect knowledge. Everything material and spiritual, and the result of such perfect knowledge are that one becomes detached from material affection and become attached to spiritual activities. Becoming detached from material thing does not mean becoming inert altogether as man with poor fund of knowledge thing. Nice karma means not undertaking activities that will produce good or bad effects. Negation does not mean negation of the positive. Negation of the non-essential does not mean negation of the essential. Similarly, detachment from a material form does not mean nullifying the positive form. The bhakti cult is meant for realization of the positive form. When positive form is realized, the negative forms are automatically eliminated. Therefore, the bhakti cult, with the application of positive service to the positive form, one naturally becomes detached from inferior things and he becomes attached to superior things. Similarly, the bhakti cult, being the supermost occupation of the living being, leads him out of material sense enjoyment. This is a sign of a pure devotee. He is not a fool, nor is he engaged in inferior energies, nor does he have the material values. This is not possible by dry reasoning. It happens by the grace of Almighty. In conclusion, one who is a pure devotee has all good qualities, namely knowledge, detachment. But one who has only knowledge or detachment is not necessarily acquainted with the principle of bhakti cult. Bhakti is the supermost occupation of human being. So try to understand that when we get this transcendental knowledge, then we can acquire what we can also become detached from the material world. So that is a very important point, that unless and until we perform devotional service, it's very difficult for us to get sublime knowledge. And this is what is missing in everybody's life. In everybody's life, nobody knows that what is real knowledge, because everybody is interested in making money, and money means material knowledge. Do you understand? Money means material knowledge. Do you understand? And material knowledge cannot take you anywhere. Tachudadana munayo jnana vairagya yuktaye Pashanti Atmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Sruta Grihitaya. The seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped, you see this word, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes that absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti. So in other words, when you again practice devotional service seriously, with faith, this knowledge cannot come to you if you don't have faith. When you have this faith and you practice under the direction of the spiritual master, then you get this transcendental knowledge. And when you get this transcendental knowledge, then you cannot fall again into Maya. You understand? Transcendental knowledge will not make you, make you detached. Understand? When you become detached, then you don't want to go and do all nonsense again. You understand? You see here, the moment you get this knowledge, yes, yad gyantva na punar moham. So once you get this knowledge, you will never again, you see, having obtained real knowledge from a realized soul, you will never again fall into such illusion. You see, that means once you get this knowledge, you will never go into Maya. How? Because this knowledge will reveal who is God, who is Krishna, who are you. You know, what is this material world? What is karma? All these things you will understand. Understand, Anand? Huh? When, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which Nisan is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything, as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. Now, this is what it means. At the moment you understand about God, Krishna, then you see everything clearly. When you see everything clearly, where is the question of going to Maya? You understand? Very important to know that this knowledge cannot be obtained by yourself. That's not possible. You must go to a guru and get this knowledge. Understand? And how the guru helps you? By teaching you. Now you see Bhagavad-gītā, Prabhupada is teaching how you can get this knowledge by understanding, reading, learning from the spiritual master. He's explaining. Now suppose you are not so advanced, still the Lord will help someone, because the Lord is seated in the heart also. You understand? See, externally he gives by the help of the spiritual master. Internally, he also has a super soul sitting inside, has a super soul sitting in everybody's heart. He also helps. You see here. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their in-depthness to you, even they were allowed, with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Supersoul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. So in other words, externally he helps us, the spiritual masters like Srila Prabhupada has given us all this knowledge, books and all. And inside the heart, a super soul, he also helps by giving knowledge. You understand? You see here how he helps. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajantam pratipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. To those who constantly devote to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So you see, when you surrender and do this Krishna consciousness, he gives the understanding. You understand? He gives the understanding how you can go to God. So this is called transcendental knowledge. Or in other words, it's called buddhi yogam. You see, real intelligence. Now how does he give? This is again further explained in the next verse. He says here, Tesham evanugam partam aham ajnanajam tamaha nasyami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their heart, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. In other words, how he does it, he is sitting in our heart and he is cleaning out all these dirty things, these nescience in our heart, and is giving this through the shining torchlight of knowledge. So therefore, inside he is sitting by giving knowledge, and outside is giving knowledge by the help of the spiritual master. You understand? This is further explained in chapter 15, text 15. You can see here, Sarvasya chahamrdi sanvisto mata smriti ganam apohanam cha Vedecha sarvahameva vidyo vedanta krit videva chaham. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge. Again, you see this? Knowledge. Huh? And forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of the Vedanta and I know of the Vedas. So you see, not only giving knowledge, somebody want to forget him, he also gives that forgetfulness. So the Lord is in charge of everything. So if you want to come out and get real knowledge, then you have to pray to the Lord and He will guide us by giving real knowledge. And if you don't want to get this knowledge, if you want to enjoy your senses, then the Lord also will cover you. And He covers you. And your intelligence gets clouded, then you cannot see. Understand? You cannot see. And what you cannot see, this is explained in chapter 7 of the Bhagavad-gītā. Sorry, the Bhagavatam. See, when you don't get this knowledge and you do not know that Krishna is everything, that means you don't get the real knowledge. If you don't know Krishna is everything, you don't get real knowledge. Nate vidu swartha gati me Vishnu durasha e bahiratamanina handayatanda upanyamana tepi santra urdamidam badaha. Person who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life, that means they don't get the spiritual knowledge, and who have therefore accepted as the leader or guru a similar blind man attached to external sense object. In other words, they are following all these people so-called outside, all these karmis, jnanis and yogis and all these people who got no real knowledge. And they are teaching all kind of rubbish. They are not telling you to surrender to Krishna. Cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home back to Godhead and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. This one they don't know. Nobody knows. Only a devotee, a pure devotee can teach you this thing. As a blind man guided by another blind man meets the right path and fall into a ditch, materially attached men led by another materially attached man are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor which are made of very strong cord, and they continue again and again in materialistic life suffering the threefold miseries. In other words, if you do not get this transcendental knowledge, then you're going to live with material knowledge, and material knowledge is going to give you miseries. Understand? Material knowledge will always put you in a lot of anxiety. You understand? Why? Because they are all living under hope against hope. They're living against what? Hope against hope. Durashaya means, Durashaya means very difficult to fulfill kind of desires. Understand? And then not only that, they're guided by this blind guy, because every one of them are blind. So if you go like nowadays, everybody is running to college, school, they're going to get degrees. Everybody is chasing up to some kind of paper degree, hoping against hope that I'll get a good job, I'll get a good life, probably I'll get a chance to go to America, then my whole problem is solved. They think like that. Or come to Singapore. They say, when I go overseas, means that's it. I'm going to be the most happiest and richest man. This is bogus. Understand? Material knowledge can only result in miseries. Material knowledge cannot give you any relief. It's not possible. Not only that, material knowledge will force you to take birth again and again and again in the material world. So, we have to know, you understand, not that we just only know spiritual knowledge and we don't understand material knowledge. We have to understand both side by side. What is material knowledge and what spiritual knowledge, so that then we will surrender. If I know material knowledge is nonsense, give me a lot of headache and problem, then I will surrender more to spiritual knowledge. Understand? If I do not know what is spiritual and just know material, then there's no question of me coming out. You understand my point or not? It is explained in the Ishopanishad, Mantra 11. Vidyam cha avidyam cha yes tat vedobhyam saha avidyayamrityam tritva vidyayamartam ashnute. Only one who can learn the process of Nisain and thereof knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessing in immortality. In other words, you must also know what this material knowledge all about. You understand? It's not that we are teaching you, you forget about material life and just become spiritual. No. You also must understand why you are taking spiritual life. Because material life, material knowledge is useless. Understand? It's going to give you pain and suffering. Understand? Even though, you may try and work so hard and get big degrees, but you can go with the big degree, it's only going to give you a lot of problems. It's not going to solve the problem. You understand my point? But on the other hand, if you take up the spiritual process, when you understand this material world is full of miseries and is temporary, then your conviction spiritually will become strong. You understand my point? That's why Krishna says here, you must know side by side what is knowledge and what is ignorance. And if you engage in ignorance, what will be the result? If you engage in ignorance activities, then you have to go and take in life in the animal kingdom. You have to end up as an animal or a bird or a tree or something. So that is sinful life. In other words, if you misuse this human body and do not try to upgrade by going home back to Godhead, then we are going to be implicated sinfully. So when we take sinful life, it is explained, see here, Parabhavas tavad abodhajata yavanna jikyasata atmatattvam yavat kriya tattva idam manovai karmatmakam yena sarirabandham. So a person who does not take up to the transcendental knowledge, Atma Tattvam, this is transcendental knowledge. In other words, he does not, let's read the whole thing. As long as one does not inquire about the spiritual values of life, in other words, one who does not inquire or acquire transcendental knowledge, Paravidya, one is defeated and subject to miseries for rising from ignorance. This is ignorant means material knowledge. If be it sinful or pious, karma as a result in action. If a person engages in any kind of karma, his mind is called karmatmaka, colored with fruitive activity. As long as the mind is impure, consciousness is unclear. In other words, if you do not get this transcendental knowledge, and as long as one is absorbed in this karmic activity, fruitive activity, he has to accept a material body. Understand the word here, Sarira Bandham. Sarira Bandham means he have to, one who is a karmatmakam, he will only be stuck materially. Understand? So if a person wants to, a person that all thinks that I will carry on my material life by eating, sleeping and doing all these things, then the person will be punished. He will have to take birth again and again and again. You understand? You cannot carry on living like this thinking that is all right. Huh? If you think that is all right, then again you have to cycle. You have to go through this cycle of birth and death. Not necessary you can get a human life again. You understand? Huh? Not necessary. Actually, he will be put into a lot of miseries. As long as he got his body, and if he does not make some inquiry, Atma Tattvam, he does not inquire about God, he does not take his time for spiritual life, then he is in big trouble. He is going to go big trouble. Understand? What is that big trouble? He's not going to see human life. Understand or not? Therefore, it is explained. It is explained in this verse, on the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Explain. Therefore, labdva sudurlabham idam bahusambante manusyam arthadam anitya pidiraha turnam ateta nat patet anumrityam yavan nisrayasya vishaya kalau sarvatra syat. In this verse is explained, after many birth and death, one achieves this rare human form of life, which although temporary affords one the opportunity to attain the highest perfection. Understand, this human form of life, you can get the highest perfection or you can achieve transcendental knowledge. Then you can get the perfection. Thus a sober human being should quickly endeavor for the ultimate perfection of life as long as the body which is always subject to death has not fallen down and died. After all, sense gratification is available in most abominable species of life, whereas Krishna consciousness is possible only for human beings. In other words, Krishna consciousness means getting this transcendental knowledge about Krishna is only possible for human beings. And having obtained this human birth, we should actually use our human life to acquire this transcendental knowledge rather than trying to worry about this material knowledge. Material knowledge is now made the goal of life. But actually, because we are very materially conditioned, so therefore we have to see and take birth after birth after birth after birth. Understand? Material knowledge will not liberate you. Material knowledge will condition you. Only spiritual knowledge can liberate you. Only spiritual knowledge can liberate you. Spiritual knowledge means to take shelter of Krishna. If we are all not interested in taking shelter of Krishna, then there is no question of coming out of Maya. There is no question of coming out of Maya. Until and unless we acquire spiritual knowledge by surrendering to the Lord, see, the divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered to me can easily cross beyond it. You understand? And that surrender means many lives. See, many people will try to get this kind of knowledge. Manusyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhe yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tattvataha. See, out of many thousands among men, karmis, among millions of karmis, one will become a jnani. And out of the millions of jnanis, one will become a devotee of Krishna. It's not that devotees are a very easy thing. See, out of many thousands of men endeavoring for perfection, one may endeavor for perfection. And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So to get this transcendental knowledge, Krishna explained, it takes many lives, you know. You see, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan. Jnanavan means one who has knowledge. Just going this side. Here, after many birth and death, he who is actually in knowledge. Again, in other words, you see this word? One who is actually in knowledge means transcendental knowledge. Surrender unto me. Knowing me is to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Understand? Knowledge of Krishna or transcendental knowledge is a sublime thing in life. If you can get that knowledge, then you become the topmost person. And you cannot get that knowledge if you do not take shelter of the spiritual master. Because the spiritual master has understood all these things. Understand? What is the qualification of the spiritual master? That is explained. Tasmat Guru Prapadye. Can you get that verse for you? Tasmat Gurum Prapadye Jigyashu Shraya Uttamam Sabde Parecha Nisnantam Brahmani Upasamam Ashrayam. You see here, therefore any person who seriously desires real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of the bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusion of the scriptures by deliberation and is able to convince others of this conclusion. Such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, are to be understood the bona fide spiritual master. You understand? So if you want to get knowledge, spiritual knowledge, you must go to such a guru. The qualification of the guru is that he has realized the conclusion and of the scriptures by deliberation and able to convince others by this conclusion. In other words, this knowledge is only there from this great souls of pure devotees. Understand? It is not there on the road or anybody has got this. Not that you go and ask anybody, he will give you this knowledge. This knowledge is actually hidden in the heart of the Mahajanas. Understand? So this important knowledge, transcendental knowledge, is explained here. Tarko pratistha sutaya vibinam nasvarishiyasya matam nabinam dharmasya tattvam hitam guhayam mahajanayena gatasapantah. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. Simply by studying the Vedas which are variegated, one cannot come to the path of which religious principles are understood. The solid truth of religious principle is hidden in the heart of unadulterated, self-realized soul. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajans advocate. In other words, this real knowledge is hidden in the heart of the, Dharmasya Tattvam Nihita Guhayam. In other words, This knowledge can be only obtained by Mahajana Ena Sagata Panta. Same thing as Krishna also said, you must approach a self-realized soul. So there are only 12 Mahajans, I'm sure, there are 12 Mahajans, Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying here. The 12 Mahajans are Swayambhu, Sambho, Narada, Kapila, Manu, Prahlad, Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Vyasadev, Sukadev Goswami, and Vidura. So these 12 Mahajans, and from their line, suppose you say Brahma, and Brahma's parampara is coming down, and Lord Narada's parampara is coming down, Lord Shiva's parampara is coming down. So if today you can connect yourself to any of these parampara and these great personalities, then you will also be able to get this transcendental knowledge. Actually, this transcendental knowledge is obtained by us now by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, who has descended into material world to give us this knowledge so that we, taking advantage, will not again fall into Maya. So unless and until you take up the spiritual path, everything else you do is a waste of time. Understand this point. If you do an activity which does not bring about an attraction for the Lord, it's simply shramam eva eva kevalam. Shramam eva eva kevalam. So all these activities that we are doing, it does not bring us this point of actually taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then it is simply a waste of time. It's simply a waste of time. I'm going to take to you that verse. Professional duties of a man performed according to own position are only so much as useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. In other words, if you don't spend your life wisely to cultivate this knowledge and detachment, and that is to take up the devotional service of to Lord Krishna, then everything is simply a wasting time. Simply wasting time. So anybody got any questions or comments up to now? You can write your questions or you can ask the questions. Yes, material knowledge is lesser to transcendental knowledge. Yes, I've mentioned it. Yes. So what is the question? Yes, material knowledge is less than spiritual knowledge. But the material knowledge is making our humanity progress. No doubt, material knowledge can only try to get to material subject. They cannot cure you from birth, death, old age and disease. Material knowledge cannot give you what? Protection from birth, death, old age and disease. Material knowledge can only try to help you to some extent, but they cannot cure it. You understand? To cure this, you only need to come to the spiritual plane. When you only come to the spiritual plane, which is your original plane, then only you can get cured. But material knowledge cannot give you understanding of spiritual life. That's not possible. Understand? Even though you see you may get all material knowledge how to make antibiotics and help people this and that, but that does not make you happy. That does not make you really happy in your heart, because your spirit soul, just like a fish, you can only be happy if you put him back in the water. But if the fish outside the water, you cannot become happy. Similarly, we all are spiritual beings. We need to go back to the spiritual world to become really happy. You understand my point? And to get to the spiritual point, material knowledge cannot help you. Okay, can you read this verse on the screen? But those who always worship me with the exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So if you try to understand that actually you are thinking that you are the provider, But when you understand that Krishna is providing everything, then you will understand things properly. You understand? Because now we do not know. We're thinking that I'm going to work, I'm getting money, I'm bringing home, and therefore people are eating. Now what happens if your job is gone? Can you explain how that is possible? Anything is possible, one. Suppose you are now working hard, suddenly you get one stroke and you cannot work anymore. So then how are you going to provide again? This is all, whimsical talking. We have to understand, by the mercy of the Lord only thing is going on. Understand? So we have to learn how to acknowledge that I am actually doing everything by the will of the Lord. I am not the provider, but God is providing. You understand my point? Are you understanding?
Correct. Yes.
So once you start thinking that you are the doer, then you are in Maya. You can see that verse in 3:27. In this verse you see, the spirit soul bewildered by the influence of false ego, ahankar, thinks himself as the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. They say man proposed, God disposed. They never say that God proposed and man disposed. And this is bogus. Understand? Whatever you are doing or whatever is happening, it's only by the will of the Lord. Because the Lord is directing. Understand? We are just sitting in this body like a machine. And everything is done by the will of the Lord. Are you following? The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated on a machine made of this material energy. The Lord is directing, you understand? We are thinking that we are doing, but we don't really know that actually it is all carried out by the three modes of material nature. The more and more we start identifying with the body, then the more and more our conditioning positions will be there. The more you understand that everything is done by the will of the Lord, then you can get cured of this problem. Are you following? What is the use of trying to do good for others, The real good of others is to make them devotee of Krishna. You understand? If somebody is drowning, you must go there and save him, You follow my point? Now you try to save people by just giving them more food and more everything for material entanglement. That is not saving. The real saving means you bring him out of Maya and bring him to Krishna. You follow? Therefore, if you do not know how to swim, how you can go and help others who are drowning? Is it possible? Is it possible? Tell me. It's not possible. With that clarity of this, what we are trying to do is called transcendental. Yes. When we chant Hare Krishna, you transport to the spiritual plane. Understand? Then you can see everything clearly. When you get purified, like suppose somebody is sick. When he's sick, he cannot understand anything properly. But when he becomes well, then he can understand, I'm okay now, I can eat, I can play, I can do so many things. But in the sick position, he cannot understand this thing. Wow, body is sick, how am I can do all these things? But when he becomes well, he can see things clearly. So similarly, until and unless you start chanting and becoming purified from this material contamination, you cannot understand what's going on. Like an animal. An animal, you cannot teach him because his consciousness is dull. So anybody who lives in this materialistic life and live in this dull consciousness, then he cannot understand what is spiritual life. He cannot understand what is transcendental happiness. He cannot understand anything because his consciousness is covered. As it says in this chapter 7, text 25. You can see here, a person whose consciousness is covered by Maya. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible, inexhaustible. See? Mudo means the fool. The fool cannot know. The fool cannot understand. The foolish cannot understand. So try to understand these points. So anything related to Krishna is called transcendental knowledge. Anything related to making money is called material knowledge. Is that clear? If I am doing a project related to a website, what kind of website is that? You can do all that. If you can take the result of that project you are doing and giving it to Krishna, then it's okay. Yes, if you are doing a project related to website and propagating Krishna, that's okay. Then you're all right. Is Krishna Lord equal to good? No. When you perform service to Krishna, everything is included. But when you perform service to mankind, God is not included. Two different things. When you serve Krishna, then everything is included. But if you serve Maya, Krishna is not included. Maya makes you forget Krishna. Humanity is serving Maya. Humanity is not serving Krishna. Understand? I can play the camera and I can do the video. Okay. Yeah. How do you serve Lord Krishna? You just have to serve Lord Krishna by first chanting Hare Krishna. Understand? By chanting Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, you have started to serve Krishna already. Then by and by other things will come. First the child, first learn how to crawl. Then once you learn to crawl, then the walking will come, the running will come, the jumping will come, everything will come. So the first thing first, try to chant Hare Krishna. And then you try to follow the four principles of no meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, intoxication. If you follow that, then the rules and regulations will help you further to become more pure in your chanting. More and more purified you become by chanting, then you will be able to see the Lord, talk to Him, associate with Him. You understand? Why humanity is serving Maya? Because human beings are not interested in God consciousness. Human beings are selfish. They are interested in their self. They are self-centered. Basically eating, sleeping, mating, defending. They are not actually interested in serving God. And if you do not serve God, then your activity is service of Maya. So when you serve Maya, you become more and more conditioned and more trouble. Understand? Human means what? Maya what? Human or human beings what? They are all engaging in what? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. All for what? For their senses only. When you serve your senses, is that not Maya? Correct? You have to learn how to serve the senses of the Lord. When you serve the senses of the Lord, then you overcome this Maya. Not only overcome Maya, you also serve all human beings. The moment Krishna is pleased, then everybody is pleased. In this regard, I am sure you know the story of Duryodhana who sent Durasa Muni with his 10,000 disciples to meet Yudhishthira. And then Yudhishthira asked them to take the river and take shower. In the meantime, Krishna came to ask for food. In the Draupadi spot, there was no food and he saw a little bit, sticking out. And then he took the little bit, then all the 10,000 disciples felt as though they have eaten such a big meal. Understand? So the moment Krishna eats, the whole world is satisfied. But if you eat, the whole world is not satisfied. Only you are satisfied. There's a difference. No, if you support your families and you make them Krishna consciousness, that is not a bad thing. But if you support your families and engage them in material activities, then that is a fault. If you do not bring, it is said very clearly in this verse, He says in this verse, Guru na sasyat, Pita na sasyat. Your daughter is chanting, okay, that's good. You can see here, one who cannot deliver is dependent from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, father, husband or mother or worshipful demigod. In other words, your dependence is your duty, you are father or mother or whatever, you must bring them to Krishna consciousness. If you do not bring them to Krishna consciousness, then you are at a fault. You understand? You see this verse? If someone is ignorant and addicted to the path of samsara, how can one who actually learned and merciful and advanced in spiritual knowledge engage him in fruitive activity and thus further entangle him in a material existence? If a blind man is walking down the wrong path, how can a gentleman allow him to continue on this way to danger? How can he approve this method? No wise or kind man can allow this. You follow? So at all you must. My daughter is chanting, okay, that's good. Yes, I'm doing. Okay, good. If you have daughter, you all, your wife all chant, then it's good. Okay. Anything else? Do you understand now what is transcendental knowledge and what is material knowledge? Huh? No, read you another verse. Give me some time. I'm going to get another verse now. Due to ignorance, the materialistic person. Right. Due to ignorance, the materialistic person does not know about his real self-interest, the auspicious path in life. He is simply bound to material enjoyment by lusty desires, and all his plans are made for this purpose. For temporary sense gratification, such a person creates a society of envy, and due to this mentality, he plunges into the ocean of suffering. Such a foolish person does not even know about this. You understand this point? Huh? You cannot think that, taking care of material family is the goal of life. Actually, your goal of life is to bring everybody to Krishna. Understand this point? If one is serious about going back home, back to God, he must consider the mercy of the Supreme Personality of God as the summum bonum and chief aim of life. If he is a father instructing his son, a spiritual master instructing disciple, or a king instructing citizen, he must instruct them as I have advised. Without being angry, he should continue giving instruction even if disciple or son or citizen is sometimes unable to follow his order. Ignorant people who engage in pious and impious activities should be engaged in devotional service by all means. They should always avoid fruitive activity. If one puts into bondage of karmic activities, disciple, son or citizen, with berets of transcendental vision, how will one profit? It is like leading a blind man to a dark well and causing him to fall in it. You understand? Why is there 4 sampradayas and why not only one sampradaya? That you have to ask Krishna. Krishna has created these 4 sampradaya so that everyone also can give a chance to serve Krishna. Everybody is given a chance to serve Krishna. Yes? And also my previous question, what is that? What is your previous question? Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken the best of all the sampradayas, 2 from each sampradaya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has done that. If they die, they will take animal body. Sinful person. How? If someone does some sinful
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
activities, someone who does sinful activities, he will take sinful birth when he dies. Understand?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dhanatana Ashish Gopal.
You see, when a person dies doing this, how they go what? You see here in this verse, when one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities, and when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. So then what is the question? Can I see a copy of the Bhagavad-gītā wrote by Vyasa? This is the Bhagavad-gītā written by Vyasa. We are showing it to you. The one that is Prabhupada version is Bhagavad-gītā by Vyasadeva.
Just now you talk about, of course, the spiritual master. There are 4 sampradayas. And also there are 3 ways they understand Krishna. They are Brahmajyoti and Paramatma, and also the Bhagavan, the stages.
Yeah.
Because they are also speaking about spiritual knowledge, which is a better way go for spiritual plane. People they think this also spiritual, that also spiritual. They feel that
Yes.
somebody.
Because inside your heart, Krishna will give you realization. Outside, the spiritual master will teach you. Inside, you have to realize. Understand? I'll give you an example. If someone said that fire, you put your hand, you will burn. Understand? So you get knowledge that, oh, if I put hand in the fire, it will burn. Correct? But if I really put my hand in the fire and it burns, then I will not put again because I realize. Understand?
That's true.
You understand now? So realize knowledge means you understand. Oh, no, I will not put my hand in fire, it will burn me. Understand?
That's true, okay.
That's called realized knowledge.
Okay, Prabhu.
How are people going after a materialistic life?
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
What about them? What about those going after materialistic life, as he is asking the question? Those who are interested in reviving Krishna consciousness and increasing their love of Godhead do not like to do anything that is not related to Krishna. They are not interested in mingling with people who are busy maintaining their bodies, eating, sleeping, mating and defending. They are not attached to their homes, although they may be householders. Nor are they attached to wives, children, friends or wealth. At the same time, they are not indifferent to the execution of their duties. You see, at the same time, they are not indifferent to execution of their duties. Such people are interested in collecting only enough money to keep the body and the soul together, because they understand the real goal is to love Krishna, not simply wasting time to make more money and more money and more money and more money. There is no end to it. Understand? Is it clear? More time should be used. Time should be used for what? For spiritual life. Understand? Are you following? See here. All occupational engagement are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to the sages, one who is engaged in ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. Is it clear? Any more questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Chadur Bhav here, Prabhu.
Yeah, what's your question?
No, Prabhu. Like last time, Anantam Prabhu asked no question, Prabhu. In that, like three ways of understanding Krishna is like Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan.
Yes.
So, in that, which is the better way to so by normal people, like from normal people to understand Krishna, which is the better way? And there are any other sampradaya, any other spiritual masters are there in any other sampradayas like that?
Okay. The answer is this. The answer is this. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam. Kalau nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatiranyata. In Kali Yuga, there's no other way, no other way, no other way than only chanting Hare Krishna. And all the sampradayas must teach this one thing. Understand? That they all must teach you how to go to Krishna by chanting his name. Understand my point?
Yes,
In
Prabhu.
Kali Yuga, no other way is there. Is there any other way in Kali Yuga other than chanting?
No, Prabhu.
So you tell him that, huh? Is it clear to him?
Okay, Prabhu. Yes, sir. Prabhu, and also, like we say our Brahma Sampradaya, our Prabhupada is there, many acharyas are there. Like people sometimes other three sampradayas are also there. In that, any current acharyas are there, which is
the symptom of a person who is following the acharya properly, he will get three things.
Okay.
One, he will get bhakti. Another thing he will get is realization. And the third thing he will become detached from sinful activities. Understand? Nowadays, many of the sampradaya, like Sri Sampradaya, they cannot give up sinful life. They're still drinking coffee, tea, taking onion, garlic, and all these things. Is that becoming purified? Huh?
No, Prabhu.
Then
no,
what is the sampradaya that is there? Which sampradaya is following very strictly? Which one? Huh? I want to know which one. Yes?
Brahma Sampradaya, we are following Sampradaya.
Yes, anyone who follows Prabhupada is so far following the best. Yes or not?
Yes, Prabhu.
Others are simply eating onion and garlic. India, all Sampradayas, everybody is correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
Huh? Coffee, tea, what is this? This is purification? Can you eat what?
No, Prabhu. Everybody is eating onion garlic, Prabhu. They are not following.
Yes, so why they can get bhakti if they don't follow? Suppose you eat onion, garlic, coffee and tree all, can you get Krishna bhakti? Can you get? So this is the problem. You check. You check who is following. If he is following, then yes, there's a chance. If he is not following, then he cannot get the chance. You understand? Is it clear? Okay.
Yes, Prabhu, clear, Prabhu.
Okay. Hare Krishna then, huh? All glories to all of you, huh? Is there more question? There's no more question. Then I offer my humble obeisance to all of you. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to you. Hare Krishna, huh?
Vandeham Shri Guru